Hi, I'm John Maxwell. When the top companies in the world are looking for trainers, speakers, and coaches, there's one name that stands above the rest, and that's Maxwell Leadership. Our certified team members have gotten proven results for companies all over the globe, and our reputation, I'm proud to say, is second to none. Some of our members have risen to the top of their profession, including the one you're going to meet today. I proudly introduce you to my friend Bob Fabian Zinka.
Welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ, where we help you lead with purpose and succeed with impact. If you're ready to grow into the kind of leader others want to follow, this podcast is for you. If you're determined to elevate your success and leave a lasting legacy, this podcast is for you. As my mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell reminds us, everything rises and falls on leadership. Our goal is simple: to inspire you, challenge you, and equip you with insights that can transform the trajectory of your leadership journey. Welcome aboard to another episode of the Leadership and Success Podcast with Coach BZ.
All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Leadership and Success Podcast. Thank you so much for being with us today. And before we get started, I'm reminded, let's do our moment of gratitude. So this is where it takes less than a minute. We just want to take a moment to be thankful for something, which we are thankful for something every time that we meet on this podcast. So maybe close your eyes, put yourself in your happy place. For me, it's probably by the beach, and you can see the waves of the ocean and the sun, and it's just perfect. And now take a deep breath and think about one thing you are grateful for right now. Today, I am really grateful for the holiday season. Christmas is one of my favorite holidays. After 21 years in the US Navy, I have missed so many holidays with my family, and I am so glad I'm going to be spending Christmas with my wife and my two daughters. So it's I am really grateful to be here and to spend time with family. So let us know what you are grateful for. Type it in the comment, and also let us know where you are watching us from, what city, what state. And if you have a question for me, please type it in the comment as well. Today, we are going to have a podcast that is going to be related to an article I wrote about the leadership lessons I learned from the one and only General Colin Powell. So I first met General Powell, I think it was in 2015, during his book signing for his second instant best-selling book, It Worked For Me. He's really a great man. I miss him a lot, but I'm glad that I have his books, and he can still mentor me about life and leadership and inspire me by his story even long after he has gone. So I encourage you to read the article, Leadership Lesson from General Colin Powell, from the Navy to Silicon Valley. And today's podcast is going to be all about that. It's going to last about 30 minutes or so. So if you have any question again, let me know. Type it in the comment, and I'll be back in about 30 minutes. Here we go.
We're exploring the powerful intersection of rigorous military discipline and that kind of, breakneck innovation you really only see in Silicon Valley.
Mm-hmm.
We're essentially analyzing a single high-performing individual who operates expertly in both of those worlds at the same time.
It's way more than just a balancing act. It's a deliberate synthesis, I think. The listener shared with us some really extensive sources detailing the journey, the philosophy, and the pretty complex production process behind Bob Fabian BZ Zinga.
Right.
And this is an individual holding down two high-stakes roles, a U.S. Navy information warfare commander and a cybersecurity executive, while also producing a massive global content platform.
The Leadership and Success Podcast with Coach BZ.
That's the one.
And that dual identity, that's really the heart of this deep dive, isn't it?
It has to be.
Our mission today is to unpack the specific mindset, the repeatable strategies, and the tactical use of technology that BZ uses to thrive in these high-pressure, often conflicting environments.
And crucially, how does that military rigor actually translate into a modern, effective leadership style? And maybe more importantly, a content multiplication engine that scales globally.
Right.
We have to acknowledge just how rare this is right out of the gate. To maintain the demanding tempo of a Navy command role, run a cybersecurity executive career, and then consistently produce a weekly, often multiple times a week, platform for years.
It's incredible. Reaching hundreds of thousands of listeners, it signals immediately that this isn't a hobby.
No, not at all. This is a core non-negotiable duty for him.
That concept duty over hobby, that's the central thread we're going to be pulling on today. And I mean, here's the hook that really demands this detailed deep dive.
Go on.
BIZ has produced well over 400 episodes, and thanks to some very intentional tech choices, that content reaches an international audience localized into 24 different languages.
24. That's not just an achievement. That's an industrial-grade operation. It requires dedication, sure, but also a repeatable, predictable system.
Exactly. Okay, so let's unpack this.
So to understand any of this, we have to start with the architect himself. BZ Zynga's identity is just. It's founded on this deep sense of responsibility.
Yeah.
He is, first and foremost, a U.S. Navy information warfare commander. That means he's responsible for mission success in the information domain. We're talking cyber defense, electronic warfare, intelligence gathering.
High-stakes stuff.
The highest. And at the same time, he's a leading cybersecurity executive, a CISO or equivalent, in the private sector. And then, to complete the circle, he's also a Maxwell Leadership Certified coach.
You know, that's not just a powerful resume. That's a fully built, comprehensive philosophy in action.
It really is.
His core principles, integrity, service, excellence, respect, they're so clearly rooted in his military service and, you know, his academic background in tech. You look at his experience, and it's over 2 decades of leading sailors, engineers.
And corporate executives.
Exactly. Through missions that are vital to both national and enterprise security. That commitment to leadership is just, it feels forged in these high-risk environments. It's not theoretical.
And that experience directly defines the unique mission of his show. The Leadership and Success podcast is specifically designed to bridge the discipline, the structured process, the resilience of military leadership, with the agility and innovation of the tech world.
Silicon Valley, basically.
Yes, exactly. He's taking lessons learned, protecting the nation, and applying them directly to securing and growing a business.
I think we need to dissect those 2 roles to really get the bridge he's building. Like, what are the parallel leadership challenges?
Okay, good idea.
An information warfare commander is operating in a domain of constant strategic threats, right? Failure impacts national security. They're managing sophisticated state actors, protecting critical infrastructure.
And leading highly technical, often dispersed teams under extreme pressure.
Right. So now you compare that to the Chief Information Security Officer, the CISO in Silicon Valley.
The threats are just as constant and just as sophisticated. But the stakes, they translate into corporate existential risk.
You mean like massive data breaches, IP theft?
Devastating regulatory fines. Reputational damage that can sink a company overnight. The commander manages the kinetic and strategic threat. The CISO manages the enterprise defense and fiduciary risk.
But both roles demand flawless execution.
Flawless execution, rapid decision-making, and deep technological fluency. BZ is fluent in the language of both the war room and the boardroom. He has to be.
So given those 2 worlds, who is he specifically trying to mentor? The audience feels very targeted.
Oh, it is. He's speaking directly to naval junior officers, the next generation of command. He's talking to cybersecurity professionals, founders, other CISOs navigating that risk landscape.
But also managers in general and serious leadership students.
Exactly. He's creating a mentorship pipeline for his specific spheres of influence. The goal isn't just to inform, it's to multiply that influence.
And the content pillars, they reflect that hybrid need perfectly, don't they?
They do. They aren't separate topics. They're interlinked requirements for any modern leader. He covers servant leadership and emotional intelligence, the quote-unquote soft skills.
But he anchors them with personal growth and, this is the key part, technological fluency in the AI-driven era.
Yes. You just can't lead a modern military unit or a Fortune 500 company without mastering both the human and the digital domains.
Yeah.
It's impossible now.
That tech fluency piece isn't just a nice to have, is it? In his fields, it's mission critical.
Absolutely essential.
Yeah.
In information warfare, the threat landscape changes daily. In corporate cybersecurity, the tools, the vulnerabilities, they are constantly evolving. A leader has to be teachable, adaptable.
And constantly integrating the latest AI developments into their strategy. Otherwise, your command or your company, it just falls behind.
That speed of adaptation is a leadership skill in itself, which I think leads us to the origin story. The why behind the show is actually pretty simple and powerful.
Right. It started in November 2021, and it wasn't about chasing ad revenue or becoming an influencer.
No, the sources are clear. It was born from BZ, seeing firsthand, in real situations, how leadership, good or bad, fundamentally changes the trajectory of lives, missions, and even global organizations.
That necessity created the platform.
The motivation was simple.
Yeah.
Mentor and multiply leaders. It became, and he uses this phrase, a mentorship platform without borders.
I love that phrase. It allows anyone, regardless of where they are or who they work for, to access this high-caliber leadership development.
And that phrase itself is a tactical application of his experience, right? The stakes in both the military and cybersecurity are too high and too global for these lessons to be stuck in one classroom.
So the platform is a force multiplier.
A force multiplier for ethical, competent command, which is, a global necessity right now.
And he didn't just casually start recording, did he? The source material notes the podcasts he actually listens to and tries to emulate.
Yeah, the Maxwell Leadership Podcast, the Ed Milet Show, the Tony Robbins Podcast.
So that immediately sets the bar at mass market influence, high production quality.
But with his unique intellectual property grounding, all of that motivation in military discipline and tech innovation, he takes that motivational energy and injects it with the precision, the resilience, the ethical requirements of a CISO or a military commander.
It's the fusion of inspiration and operation.
That's it. That's what defines the whole project.
Okay, so we've established the mission, but now we hit the logistical paradox.
The how.
How does someone who is a full-time cybersecurity executive and a U.S. Navy information warfare commander, two jobs that demand constant, high-level attention, how does he find the time to produce a 400-plus episode global content platform?
This is the tyranny of the urgent, right? And it's where this profound mindset shift has to happen. BZI explains that he views leadership development and the podcast itself as a duty, not a hobby.
And that psychological reframe is the key that unlocks everything, isn't it?
It is. Let's really unpack that shift because it's probably the most important insight in this entire deep dive. When you classify something as a hobby, it gets slotted into discretionary time. If you're tired, you skip it. If a mission runs late, you postpone it. It's the first thing to go.
Of course.
But when it becomes a duty, it's not negotiable. It gets baked into the standard operating procedures of his life, just like a mission report or preparing for a board meeting.
So the operational impact of that mindset is just massive. Because it's a duty, he doesn't find the time. He carves out the time strategically.
Exactly. Early mornings, late nights, weekends, these aren't moments of leisure for him. They are scheduled operational windows.
It's resource allocation. It's based on a commitment to service that just supersedes personal fatigue or momentary distractions.
And the production volume proves this is a system, not some sporadic effort. New episodes are weekly, but often multiple times a week when he has special guests or these AI recap sessions.
That consistency, that's the very definition of an operational tempo, It establishes a duty-driven platform that the audience can rely on, just like a crew relies on their commander's predictable presence.
It builds trust.
Let's get forensic on the labor investment. This is the math that makes this tangible for you, listening at home. The sources say each episode typically takes between 4 to 8 hours to plan, record, edit, and promote.
Okay, so let's do the math. 400 episodes times, let's just say an average of 6 hours.
That's 2,400 hours of content creation on top of 2 extremely demanding careers.
It's just mind-boggling. The variation in time makes sense, though. A long-form interview with a general or a CEO is going to demand a lot of research coordination that's on the higher end.
Right, but these shorter AI recap episodes where he uses tech to distill key insights from older content, they must be more streamlined.
They have to be. It shows an astute operational leader who is strategically using technology to maximize his output and ensure that tempo is maintained. He's working smarter, not just harder.
Which brings us to the financial commitment. It ties directly back to that duty over hobby mantra.
Yeah, the sources say BZ personally funds everything. Hosting, equipment, marketing, and the crucial multi-language dubbing. It's not a passive investment. He is self-funding a global operation.
And that's the essential distinction. He details his expenses. Podbean for hosting, professional software for editing, the AI dubbing engine, Metricool for social media automation.
The total cost is a few $100s a month, which is honestly pretty lean for maintaining a global operation in 24 languages.
Okay, but let's challenge this a little bit, as a deep dive should. It ensures integrity, for sure. The crucial part of self-funding is the why. He relies on purpose, not sponsors.
Right, which gives him complete freedom to feature guests and discuss topics like servant leadership, ethical innovation, without being constrained by commercial interests.
So that freedom is invaluable. But does the source material mention if that self-imposed budget, a few $100 a month, limits his ability to scale? Could he hire a production team? Because 4 to 8 hours a week is a huge labor sink for someone in his position.
That's a fair challenge. The text implies that his strategic use of AI tools, which we're about to get into, is his production team.
Ah, okay.
He's essentially using technology, which is cheaper and faster than human labor, to offload the repetitive tasks. Transcription, basic editing, and most importantly, that global localization.
So the answer is that the financial constraints are strategically mitigated by applying his expertise in technological fluency.
Exactly. The investment isn't just money, it's his personal capital of time and intellect. The self-funding is the price he pays to maintain integrity and alignment. And that freedom is the greatest resource he gets from it.
And the real reward, as he notes, is hearing from naval officers and analysts who tell him they were inspired to lead differently.
That's the duty fulfilled. That's the ROI.
Okay, transitioning into the practical how. BZ's description of his production process is really telling. He calls it a disciplined yet creative operation, much like running a mission.
That phrase it perfectly encapsulates the fusion of the Navy commander and the creative content generator. It's a mission. It's not a chat show.
It reflects a mindset where precision and preparation are non-negotiable, which, as we said, is mandatory in high-stakes environments.
You can't run a successful command or secure an enterprise network without rigorously structured, repeatable SOPs. He's just applying that same rigor to his content engine. Every segment has a purpose. Every recording is prepped for maximum efficiency.
So for our listener who might be looking to replicate this kind of professional quality, let's detail the technical stack, and let's go beyond just listing tools. Let's talk about the why behind the choices.
Absolutely. So his hardware choices prioritize reliability and clarity. He uses a Shure MV7 dynamic microphone and a Rode PSA-1 arm, all connected via an audio interface to his MacBook Pro. Now, why the MV7 specifically?
That's a great technical question. The Shure MV7 is a dynamic microphone, and unlike a super sensitive condenser mic, dynamic mics are excellent at rejecting background noise. So when you're an executive or a commander who might be recording in an office, a home studio, or even, a temporary deployment location, the MV7 gives you consistent, broadcast quality audio while minimizing room echo.
It's the operational choice. It's about resilience.
Exactly. It's built for varied environments. On the software side, he relies on Audacity for fine-tuning, but he uses Descript for editing.
And Descript is key for time management. Uses AI to transcribe the audio, which lets BZ edit the episode just by editing a text document.
Which bypasses, half the time you'd traditionally spend manually clipping audio waveforms. That makes his 4-8-hour commitment actually sustainable.
Yeah, and then he uses Podbean for hosting and analytics, Metrical for automated scheduling across all his platforms, and for remote interviews, Zoom or Riverside.fm for that HD quality.
It's a blend of industry standard tools, but they're all selected to prioritize high quality and ruthless efficiency.
Right, now this is where the military command and the tech fluency truly merge to create massive multiplication. The use of AI for global reach.
Using specialized AI-powered dubbing tools to translate and localize episodes into 24-plus languages.
Let's just pause on that. 24 languages. We're talking about reaching target regions like the U.S., Brazil, India, Spain.
It's a deliberate strategy to create that mentorship platform without borders, but there's a huge challenge here, isn't there? How do you ensure the nuance of leadership concepts like emotional intelligence, servant leadership? How does that translate accurately across dozens of languages and cultures?
That is the core translation challenge with AI localization. The assumption is that the AI tool is sophisticated enough to maintain BZ's authoritative tone, his professional cadence, and the intent behind his principles.
So he must have to audit it. He has to treat the translated content like a deployment. It has to be verified for fidelity.
I would assume so. His commitment to quality suggests he's using the most sophisticated, high-fidelity AI voice modeling available to ensure that message remains intact.
And if he were to skip that step, the 4 to 8 hours he spends would only serve a fraction of his audience. This AI dubbing is maybe the clearest example of him applying tech fluency to exponentially scale his mission.
The content is then delivered by a highly intentional guest curation strategy. He features a mix of global leaders, Fortune 500 CEOs, CISOs, renowned authors, military officers.
That diverse mix ensures the platform stays relevant to both the corporate and the command spheres. His network is his main sourcing mechanism, over 30,000 LinkedIn connections, 34,000 plus followers.
And he leverages referrals. And this dedicated fits friends in the Spotlight series.
Yeah.
The sources even name-check guests like Janet Foudy and General Stanley Ella McChrystal.
I mean, securing someone like General McChrystal is a massive signal, right?
It's huge. It showed that BZ has built a platform trusted by leaders whose currency is their integrity and their time. It tells you the prep brief BZ provides his guests has to be impeccable, professional, and laser-focused. It signals their time will be respected.
And he maintains an explicit diversity mandate. He intentionally seeks out diverse voices leaders from underrepresented communities, veterans, women in tech.
Which isn't tokenism. It ensures the show reflects a 360-degree view of leadership, which is essential if you're trying to mentor a truly global and diverse audience.
Finally, the preparation itself. It's structured like a military op brief. He designs custom questions, but they always revolve around 3 core themes.
Right. First, their story, which establishes credibility. Second, their struggles for resilience and relatability. And third, their success lessons for others, the practical takeaway.
That structure is non-negotiable for a high-volume platform like this. In a mission-driven content engine, you can't afford conversations that just meander.
By ensuring every guest hits the journey, the obstacles, and the wisdom gained, BZ guarantees you, the listener, walk away with tangible, immediately applicable knowledge. It turns a chat into a structured masterclass.
Okay, let's pivot now to the deployment strategy, the marketing. BZ emphasizes that his approach is all about authentic relationships and consistent, high-value content.
Connection, not chasing vanity metrics.
That high-integrity strategy is so critical for his credibility, isn't it? I mean, in both the military and the executive cyber world.
Oh, absolutely. If you were chasing clickbait titles or sensationalism, it would just instantly undermine the professional authority his entire platform is built on. Trust is everything.
And that integrity is why his primary channel is LinkedIn. He's ranked as the #1 U.S. content creator for #global leaders on the platform. Why is LinkedIn so strategically vital for him?
Because it's the natural habitat of his core audience.
Right.
It's where military officers, cybersecurity executives, and global leadership professionals live online. With over 33,000 followers there, LinkedIn ensures that every new piece of content is seen by exactly the people who need to see it.
It's targeted influence, not mass market noise. A classic example of influence based on professional context. You wouldn't look for advice on national security leadership on TikTok, you know.
You go to the verified professional community. BZ is strategically reinforcing his expertise in the most relevant theater of operation for his career.
The analytics back this up, but also show a broad distribution. His Podbean analytics say 45% of listeners come through Spotify. 30% through Apple Podcasts, 15% from YouTube. The last 10% is from direct embedded links on LinkedIn, newsletters, his website.
That breakdown shows a really powerful syndication model. The high percentage on Spotify and Apple, that tells me that busy professionals are consuming this on the go during commutes, workouts.
Exactly the listening behavior you'd expect from naval officers and busy executives. The content is designed for on-demand efficiency.
And he uses a multifaceted approach for cross-promotion that just screams military precision. He has his professional website and 2 specialized email newsletters.
LAY, that's Leadership, Excellence and Accountability Devotion, and EKC, his cybersecurity newsletter. He's segmenting his value delivery.
He is. And he ensures accessibility by creating short-form video clips, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels for 60-second highlights. This caters to the modern attention span while driving traffic back to the full deep dive.
And the whole system is tied together with Metricool for automated tracking and posting. It maximizes reach without him having to manually manage distribution across like a dozen channels.
The whole thing is a coordinated deployment of content, consistent, visible, and optimized. But what about the engagement strategy? How does he build community?
He treats every piece of content like a conversation starter. Each episode ends with a question or a leadership challenge, actively inviting reflection and comments.
And then he features listener stories, quotes, testimonials. It's active inclusion. He turns listeners from passive consumers into active participants in the dialogue.
So let's circle back to the real return on investment, the ROI. He self-funds, he avoids sponsors. So he contrasts that lack of direct monetary income with the exponential soft gains.
And these soft gains are profound, arguably way more valuable than sponsorship money for a leader at his level. He's formed deep, meaningful relationships with global leaders, authors, innovators, Navy captains, Fortune 500 execs,
These relationships build institutional bridges between the worlds of command and commerce.
which benefits everyone involved in national and enterprise security.
And it generates huge professional visibility. The show is an amplifier for his mission. It opens doors for high-profile speaking engagements at places like the RSA Security Conference and executive roundtables.
So the platform isn't just about sharing knowledge, it's actively enhancing his professional influence and access.
But the greatest reward, as BZ points out, is threefold. First, the external feedback from officers who were inspired to change. Second, that professional access.
And third, the constant personal learning. Every conversation challenges his own thinking, forces him to sharpen his own philosophy. That internal feedback loop is what fuels the sustainable external output.
It reinforces that leadership is continuous transformation no matter what your title is.
We've established the operational how, but now we have to get to the foundational philosophy, the core code, that underpins this whole massive disciplined effort.
Right. These principles are drawn directly from the Think on These Things section in the source material, and they're the moral and ethical framework connecting his command and executive roles.
These 6 principles, they provide the spiritual and ethical structure that keeps his leadership aligned and resilient, especially when you're facing the moral ambiguities in tech and military strategy.
Your compass.
They're a compass, exactly, ensuring decisions prioritize long-term integrity over short-term gain.
Let's start with the first one, alignment, from Proverbs 16.3. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. The insight here is that true success requires anchoring your plans in a greater purpose, not just ego.
This is so critical in both of his worlds. In a tech context, it means aligning product development with ethical purpose, with human flourishing, not just quarterly earnings.
So if a new AI capability is misaligned with the company's core integrity,
the short-term ambition has to yield to the long-term purpose. In the military context, alignment is everything. It prevents mission creep. It demands that every tactical action aligns with the strategic objective and the core values of service.
if a commander makes a decision guided by ambition for a promotion rather than the mission or the safety of their sailors,
That misalignment will inevitably lead to systemic failure. Alignment creates resilience under pressure.
the second principle is excellence as stewardship, from Colossians 3.23-24. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters.
This stresses that excellence is fundamentally about integrity and work ethic, not a quest for recognition.
This speaks directly to the podcast, doesn't it? The 4 to 8 hours dedicated to rigorous prep for every single episode. Excellence is an act of service that builds trust. If you're sloppy in your work, you'll be seen as sloppy in your command.
Think about the CISO role. Stewardship means protecting the enterprise data with the highest level of integrity, whether senior management is watching or not. The work ethic must be constant because the adversary is constant.
And in the military, it means maintaining equipment, training, readiness at an optimal level, even during quiet periods. The duty is to serve, not to be seen serving.
Number 3, mutual sharpening. From Proverbs 27.1 sin, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another.
This emphasizes community. Great leaders need a circle that challenges them. Every conversation is a chance to sharpen others and be sharpened yourself.
Leaders can't afford to rise in isolation, especially when the information landscape is constantly changing. In the fast-moving tech world, having diverse external perspectives, your iron, is essential for spotting your own strategic blind spots.
BZ's guest strategy is the living application of this, right? He intentionally seeks out diverse global leaders, authors, even competitors, not to validate his own views, but to stress test his philosophy.
Exactly. Principle number 4 is servant leadership and humility, from Philippians 2.3-4. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves.
This is the definitive redefinition of command. It says leadership is responsibility, not authority. The goal is to multiply influence and cultivate unity by valuing the team above your own personal status.
In a corporate environment, that means prioritizing team development and well-being over securing your own bonus. A servant CISO protects the company through the success of their analysts.
And in the military, it means putting the mission and the welfare of the sailors first, even if it involves personal sacrifice. It's the highest form of command.
Then there's number 5, teachability and wisdom, from James 1.5. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God. The insight here is clear. The best leaders are the most relentlessly teachable.
Wisdom is framed as the single most strategic resource in these complex fields like national security and emerging tech.
Right. If a CISO believes they've solved all potential cyber problems, they're operating under a catastrophic illusion. The ability to pause, recognize knowledge gaps, and actively ask for guidance is what prevents strategic failure.
So the podcast itself is a mechanism for his own continuous mandated teachability.
It has to be. Finally, number 6, multiplication and legacy from 2 Timothy 2.2. And the things you have heard me say, entrust to reliable people who will also be qualified to teach others.
The core idea is that legacy leadership is about reproducing other leaders, not just maintaining the status quo.
This is the ultimate objective of the entire platform. BZ views his command roles, his coaching, and his content as integrated systems for leadership reproduction. The goal is to intentionally develop the next generation of commanders and executives.
So for you listening, the practical question is, are you spending all your time just managing the current crisis, or are you dedicating purposeful time to actively transferring your most vital lessons to the next layer of leadership?
BZ's platform is his answer. 400 episodes and 24 language dubbing. It's a system designed to ensure the continuity of excellent, values-driven leadership.
That philosophical bedrock makes the transition to BZ's practical advice so valuable. This isn't just advice from a generic content creator. It's operational wisdom from a commander who's executed over 400 successful missions.
He's translating high-stakes operational experience directly into a communication strategy. And the primary directive is maybe the most challenging advice for high achievers to follow.
Start with purpose, not perfection.
He emphasizes that your why, the mission to serve and multiply leaders, will power you through every late night, every technical glitch, every moment of doubt, far more effectively than the perfect microphone or the best editing software.
Perfectionism leads to analysis paralysis.
While purpose leads to sustained action, the focus on authenticity and consistency is paramount, particularly in his fields. His listeners connect with the authority and the message, not the branding.
So let's break down the 5 key lessons he learned from his 400-plus episode deployment cycle. Lesson 1, iteration over hesitation.
Done is better than perfect. This is the minimal viable product approach from the tech world, applied to content. Your first episode won't be flawless, and that has to be okay.
Progress happens through continuous iteration, not waiting for the perfect moment. If you wait for absolute perfection, the mission will be obsolete before you even launch.
Lesson 2, focus on value. This means serve before you sell. Your primary goal must be to create overwhelming non-monetary value for your audience before you ever even think about monetization or sponsorship.
And when you keep that laser focus on impact, influence just naturally follows, which then leads to those soft gains we talked about: access, visibility, networking.
His self-funding model proves this. By proving the value first, he established the integrity needed to attract high-caliber connections, even though he chooses not to sell ads. Influence precedes income.
Lesson 3 is about structure versus organic flow. Plan your content, but allow for flexibility. The best insights often emerge from unexpected organic turns in a conversation.
This is that balance between military precision and the creative need for engaging storytelling. You structure the interview around those 3 core themes: story, struggles, success. But a good commander has to be present, adaptable,
and listening intently enough to allow the conversation to go where the unique wisdom of the guest leads. Rigidity kills creativity.
Lesson 4, network power. Build genuine, nurtured relationships, not just anonymous downloads. Guests, listeners, and fellow podcasters become professional allies if you treat the connection as an opportunity for mutual sharpening.
His massive LinkedIn network is the foundation of his growth, but it only functions because he actively nurtures those relationships. You have to give value, not just extract it.
And the final lesson, number 5, continuous growth. He sees the act of podcasting itself as a profound leadership exercise in communication, empathy, and continuous learning.
I mean, every skill required to run a successful platform, clear communication, active listening, continuous research, is an essential requirement for effective leadership, whether you're in command or in the C-suite.
By consistently producing content, he is constantly sharpening his own core leadership skills. It reinforces the importance of being the most teachable person in the room.
And finally, for the listener who feels that call to start their own platform, BZ recommends several resources. For the mechanics, the podcast host, Buzzsprout Podcasting 101, and the School of Podcasting by Dave Jackson.
And for refining the message and purpose, he points to Start With Why, by Simon Sinek and Talk Like Ted by Carmine Gallo.
Those books reinforce the whole system, don't they? First, get absolute clarity of purpose, the why. And second, structure that purpose into powerful, compelling, and reproducible storytelling.
It brings the entire operational cycle full circle, from purpose to deployment. #outro.
So if we look back at this incredible deep dive, the key insight that distinguishes BZ's success is, well, it's clear. His achievement is absolutely rooted in viewing leadership development and multiplication as a military mission, not a casual interest. He masterfully fuses disciplined operational rigor, that 4 to 8 hours of structured prep, the non-negotiable weekly release with cutting-edge AI-enabled scaling, especially that 24-language dubbing.
All while maintaining a radical self-funded focus on service over chasing commercial metrics or money.
What stands out most profoundly to me is the sheer intentionality of his deployment strategy. He uses his validated professional network, those 33,000 plus LinkedIn followers, not for vanity, but as a strategic resource to source diverse, high-caliber expertise.
And you couple that with the commitment to 24-language dubbing, and he has truly transformed a demanding personal project into a genuine, structured global leadership movement. It's designed to reproduce the lessons of command across continents.
It's an operational masterpiece in influence.
It really is. It shows us how structured dedication and a clear, unwavering sense of duty can exponentially outpace almost any budget or marketing spend.
We've seen how leadership principles transcend environments, moving seamlessly from the Navy to Silicon Valley and then into the global audio space. It proves that integrity is the universal language of influence.
And this leaves us with a provocative closing thought for you, the listener. BZ's entire system is built on the principle that leadership is multiplication. The platform he built is the mechanism for that legacy.
So the critical question for you to consider is this. What is the single most vital, most strategic lesson, the one rooted in integrity, resilience, and service, that you need to intentionally document and entrust to the next generation of leaders in your specific field right now?
That's a deep dive that keeps on giving.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please let us know what are your 2 to 3 takeaway from this episode. Like I've said earlier, I've really learned a lot from General Colin Powell. Has been a great inspiration in my life, and I don't know how many times, even in my own Navy career, I felt like, oh, maybe I need to quit and I need to give up now. But knowing that Powell went all the way up to being a 4-star general, that really has inspired me a lot. And one thing I have also really noticed throughout my entire career, all of the flag officer I have ever worked for, all of the general and admiral, one thing they really truly have in common is their humility. Servant leadership, always putting everybody else in front of them. Maybe that's one of the characteristics why you become a flag officer, whether you are selected or not. But pretty much, all of them, they have done so much, they have accomplished so much, but they are so humble. And that is really characteristic of them. And it is quite amazing to see. And I've also had the privilege of not just working for some of them, but actually interviewing some of the best that I believe America has ever produced, right? Like the legendary General David Petraeus, or General Glenn D. Van Erck, or more recently, last week I had really the great privilege and honor to speak with General Stanley McChrystal. One thing they all have in common, they are humble, they are down to earth, and they just want to add value. And that's really a lesson I will take to my grave. If you want to lead, if you want to be the boss, you really have to add value to others. You have to serve the people who are under you. I am looking for this book again, Gets Off Fire. I want to really encourage you guys to get a copy by Stephen Pressfield. I think it really truly has the best definition of leadership, what leadership is. And I think, again, this is one thing I have seen exemplify, model by all of the flag officers I've really ever had the privilege and the honor of serving under. On page 412, it says, I will tell His Majesty what a king is. So if you want to be a king, you want to be a leader, this is who you should aspire to be. A king does not abide within his tent while his men bleed and die upon the field. A king does not dine while his men go hungry, nor sleep when they stand at watch upon the wall. A king does not command his men's loyalty for fear, nor purchase it with gold. He earns their love by the sweat of his own back and the pains he endures for their sake. That which comprises the harshest burden, a king lifts first and sets down last. A king does not require service of those he leads, but provides it to them. He serves them, not they him. That is the meaning of leadership. Wow. All right. So that's it for now. And tomorrow, I will have a great pleasure of having a leadership conversation with my old professor. That's going to be Dr. Casey Lucius, PhD. She's a scholar, practitioner, servant leader, executive. We're going to be talking about full circle leadership conversation because I've learned a lot of leadership lesson in her class back in 2011. I think it was at the Naval War College in Monterey at the Naval Postgraduate School. And she's going to be here. We're going to be talking about leadership some more. So especially for my junior officer, pay close attention. And then this Friday, I will have the honor of speaking with Daya Ramesh. She made a surprise feature yesterday on the podcast just to say hello. She's a cybersecurity executive, founder, operator, and a mentor. We're going to be talking about cybersecurity is existential. So that's going to be this Friday. And then let's see, next week I will have, let me make sure. Yeah, I will have Captain Tess Tracy, PsyD, U.S. Army. She's a transformational leader, operational psychologist, and we're going to be talking about the psychology of command. And then after her, I will have a great pleasure of speaking to the one and only Dr. Shauna Doug Springer, PhD. She's relentless, and she's perceptive. We're going to be talking about mental warfare and moral courage. She's a serial best-selling author of Beyond the Military Warrior and Relentless Courage, which, if you remember, I already had an interview with Michael Segru, who is our co-author during our first mental health day. So that's what's coming down the pipe, and thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to be here with you again tomorrow. Have a wonderful holiday. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from Coach Busy. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ. If today's episode added value to your leadership journey, be sure to subscribe, share, and join us again for more wisdom nuggets on how to lead better and achieve greater success. Remember, leadership is the most critical skill of our time. The world will always need leaders to inspire others, drive innovation, and execute meaningful strategy. So why not count yourself among the bold leaders shaping the 21st century? Until next time, stay inspired, stay committed, and keep leading with excellence.